श्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजम् ब्रह्मणाम् ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्र्यवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय ॐ नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यव उतोत इषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुत ते नमः यात इषुः शिवतमा शिवम् बभूव ते धनुः शिवा शरव्यायातवतया नो रुद्रमृडय या ते रुद्रशिवा तनूरघोरा पापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिचाकशीः यामिषुम् गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्ष्यस्तवे शिवाङ्गिरित्रताम् कुरु माहि गुंसीः पुरुषम् जगत् शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्छावदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुम् सुमना असत् अध्यवोचदधिवक्ताः प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक् अहीगुश्च सर्वान् जम्भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः ये चेमागुम् रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षु श्रिताः सहस्रशो वैशागुम् हेड ईमहे असौ यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनम् गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः उतैनौ विश्वा भूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयातिनः नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीढुषे अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानो हन्तेभ्यो करन्नमः प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमुभयोरार्त्रियोर्ज्याम् याश्च ते हस्त इषवः पराता भगवो वप अवतत्यधनुस्त्वगुम् सहस्राक्षशते शुधे निशीर्य शल्यानाम् मुखा शिवो नः सुमना भव विज्यन् धनुः कपर्दिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुम् उत अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निषङ्गतिः याते हेतिर्मीढुष्टमहस्ते बभूव ते धनुः तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुजा नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधायानातताय धृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुत ते नमो बाहुभ्याम् तव धन्वने परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः अथो य इषुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निदेहितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशां च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्विषीमते पथीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्रुषाय विव्याधिने नानां पतये पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तताविने क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानां पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय स्थपतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृताय औषधीनां पतये नमो नमः उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्नीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवीताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः नमः सहमानाय निर्व्याधिन आव्याधिनीनां पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे सेनानां पतये नमो नमो निषङ्गिण इषुधिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्थायूनां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये नमो नमः सृकाविभ्यो जिघागुंसद्भ्यो मुष्णतां पतये नमो नमोऽसिमद्भ्यो नक्तञ्चरद्भ्यः प्रकृन्तानां पतये नमो नमः उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नमः इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वाविभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तिष्ठद्भ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमः आव्याधिनीभ्यो विविध्यन्तीभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः उगणाभ्यस्त्रिगुंहतीभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो कृत्सेभ्यो कृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो महद्भ्यः क्षुल्लकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथिभ्यो रथेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यः सेनानिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः क्षत्रुभ्यः सङ्ग्रहीतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः पुञ्जिष्टेभ्यो निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः इषुकृद्भ्यो धन्वकृद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यश्वनिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वभ्यश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च व्युक्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च शिपिविष्टाय च नमो मीढुष्टमाय चेषुमते च नमो ह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षीयसे च नमो वृद्धाय च संवृध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नमः आशवे चाजिराय च नमः शीघ्रियाय च शीभ्याय च नमः ऊर्ण्याय चावस्वन्याय च नमः स्रोतस्याय च द्वीप्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय च परजाय च नमो मध्यमाय चापगल्भाय च नमो जघन्याय च बुद्ध्याय च नमः सोऽभ्याय च प्रतिसर्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमः उर्वर्याय च खल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय चावसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेणाय चाशुरथाय च नमः शूराय चावभिन्दते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरूथिने च नमो बिल्मिने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय चाहनन्याय च नमो धृष्णवे च प्रमृषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रहिताय च नमो निषङ्गिणे चेषु धिमते च नमस्तीक्ष्णेषवे चायुधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पथ्याय च नमः काट्याय च नीप्याय च नमः सूद्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कूप्याय च वट्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय च वर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नमः ईध्रियाय च तप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च हर 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 ॐ नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमस्ताम्राय च अरुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नमः उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वधाय च दूरे वधाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्ताराय नमः शम्भवे च मयोभवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तीर्थ्याय च कूल्याय च नमः पार्याय च वार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आतार्याय च लाद्याय च नमः षष्ट्याय च फेन्याय च नमः सिकत्याय च प्रवाह्याय च नमः हिरण्याय च प्रपथ्याय च नमः किगुंशिलाय च क्षयणाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ठ्याय च गृह्याय च नमः स्तल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदयाय च निवेश्याय च नमः पागुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नमः ऊर्व्याय च सूर्ण्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णशद्याय च नमो पगुरमाणाय चाभिघ्नते च नमः आखिदते च प्रखिदते च नमो वह्किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुं हृदयेभ्यो नमो विक्षीणकेभ्यो नमो विचिन्वत्केभ्यो नम आनिर्हतेभ्यो नम आमीवत्केभ्यः द्रापे अन्धसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषाम् पुरुषाणाम् येषाम् पशूनाम् माभेर्मा रोमो येषाम् किञ्चनाममत या ते रुद्रशिवा तनुः शिवा विश्वाह भेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजी तया नो मृडजीवसे इमागुं रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रभरामहे मतिम् यथा नः शमसद्विपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वम् पुष्टम् ग्रामे अस्मिन्ननातुरम् मृडानो रुद्रोतनो मयस्कृधि क्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्छञ्च योश्च मनुरायजे पिता तदश्याम तव रुद्रः प्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुतमानो अर्भकं मान उक्षन्तमुतमान उक्षितम् मानो वधीः पितरं मोद मातरं प्रियामानस्तनुवो रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोके तनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषु मानो अश्वेषु रीरिषः वीरान् मानो रुद्रभामितो वधीर्हविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्ते गोघ्न उत पूरुषघ्ने क्षयद्वीराय सुम्नमस्मेते अस्तु रक्षा च नो अभि च देव ब्रूह्यथा च नः शर्म यच्छद्विबर्हाः सुविश्रुतं गर्त सदयुवानं मृगन्न भीममुपहत्नुमुग्रम् मृडाचरित्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निव पन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतिर्वृणक्तु परित्वेषस्य दुर्मतिरघायोः अवस्थिरा मघवद्भ्यस्तनुष्वमेढ्वस्तोकायतनयाय मृडय मेढुष्टमशिवतमशिवो नः सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधन्निधाय कृत्यं वसान आचर पिनाकं बिभ्रदागहि विगिरित विलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगुं हेतयोऽन्यमस्मन्निव पन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रधा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीनामुखाकृति सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्याम् तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन्महत्यर्णवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अभि नीलग्रीवाः शितिकण्ठाः शर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाः शितिकण्ठादिवगुं रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासः कपर्दिनः ये अन्येषु विविध्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनान ये पथां पथि रक्षय ऐलभृदायव्युधः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति सृगावन्तो निषङ्गिणः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्यां ये एन्तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नौ वातो वर्षमिषवस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचीर्दश दक्षिणा दश प्रतीचीर्दशोदीचीर्दशोर्ध्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु ते यन्त्विष्मो यश्च नो द्वेष्टितं वोजम्भे दधामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्सु य ओषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु ये ते सहस्रमयुतं पाशा मृत्योर्मर्त्याय हन्तवे तान् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्येनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि तमुष्टु हि यस्विषुः सुधन्वायो विश्वस्य क्षयति भेषजस्य यक्ष्वा महेशौ मनसाय रुद्रन्नमोभिर्देवमसुरन्दुवस्य अयं मे हस्तो भगवानयं अयम् मे भगवत्तरः अयम् मे विश्वभेषजो यगुम् शिवाभिमर्शनः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियञ्च मेऽनुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रञ्च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणञ्च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वञ्च मे महश्च मे संविच्च मे ज्ञात्रञ्च मे सोश्च मे प्रसोश्च मे सीरञ्च मे लयश्च मरुतञ्च मे मृतञ्च मे यक्ष्मञ्च मे नामयच्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वञ्च मे नमित्रञ्च मे भयञ्च मे सुगञ्च मे शयनञ्च मे सूषा च मे सुदिनञ्च मे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Om Shri Sai Ram. A very warm welcome to day 3 of this second Global Vedic Conference. In today's session of the conference, we have a galaxy of 4 speakers. And without further ado, I would like to invite the first speaker. It is my privilege to introduce Dr. Pravir Malik. He is a systems thinker, a technologist, an author. His work reimagines the quantum layer through the lens of complex systems. Cosmology of light, that is Sri Aurobindo's integrative vision of consciousness and evolution. This is one of the keystones of his work. And he will be introducing us to this very topic, the cosmology of light, a Vedic perspective on the science of consciousness and creation. I welcome Dr. Pravir Malik.
Thank you. Dear brothers and sisters, respected officers of this organization, it is a great honor to be here today in this sacred place, just a few feet away from the Samadhi of the Bhagavan. I am grateful for this invitation that has been extended to me by the committee and particularly Shri Subramanyam Gorti and Shri Nimish Pandya. And I must also mention that I would not be here if it were not for my physics professor from 50 years ago, Shri Pitre ji, who in recent years developed an interest in my thesis of light, and subsequently I am here today. The cosmology of light is something that has existed for millennia, and the Vedas are a deep answer to the question that is the cosmos and are a cosmology of light. In the Rig Veda, we have hymns that express how light has been covered by darkness, how there is a battle between light and darkness, and how through the invocation of the gods, human souls can reach those planes of light. If we go further along the arc of history, in the Upanishads, we have such revelatory sayings as when he shines, everything shines after him. By his light, all this is lighted. And in contemporary times, we have the Gayatri of Sri Aurobindo, Tat Savitur Varab Rupam, Jyoti Parasya Dhimahi, Yan Satyen Deepayet. Let us meditate on the most auspicious form of Savitri, on the light of the Supreme, which shall illumine us with the truth. Now, when we look at physics, we have already indications of how we are breaking the mysteries at the very outer bounds of creation, that is, material creation. So when we consider a photon is the most prevalent of quantum particles. 98% of all quantum particles is the photon. The photon is the carrier of light. And if we contemplate on the photon, what's amazing is that it carries information intact from the far reaches of the galaxies and the universe to us over here, basically transcending time and space. They exist for billions of years. And this is something to be deeply contemplated on, because it puts us face to face with that mystery that exists just beyond the material veil. Now, my own work in cosmology of light was precipitated by a simple question. I asked the question, why does light travel at 186,000 miles per second in vacuum? Why is it constant? In a world where we have Brahman, where we have a divine reality, where this reality is pervasive, such an intentionality of having light travel at 186,000 miles a second cannot be an accident. And so, in order to understand this, I went on a journey, an inner journey, where I began to extrapolate what reality would look like if light were to travel infinitely fast. What reality would it look like if light were projected at 0 speed? Now, let's take the case of light traveling infinitely fast. I want to invite you into this thought experiment. So consider a volume, no matter how large the volume is, and at the center, you have a light source. Now, this light being infinitely fast will be present throughout that volume instantaneously. Therefore, it's omnipresent. If anything not of the nature of light were to arise, then this light would overpower it sooner or later. And hence, we have a property of omnipotence. Since everything is connected in the fabric of light, light can sense when things appear and disappear, and therefore has a knowledge of everything that's happening in its space. Therefore, it's omniscient. And since everything is connected in the nature of light, there is a property of omnilovingness or omniharmony. So we can say, just to simplify this, we can call these 4 properties that I mentioned: presence, power, knowledge, and harmony. And of course, if we go back to the ancient traditions and even descriptions of what reality is, we have Satchitananda, which, if we also consider it more deeply, then Sat, I would say, is the equivalent of presence. Chit, consciousness force, is knowledge and power. And Ananda, we can say, is that aspect of love. Now, the second thought experiment that I conducted was, what happens if light is projected at 0 speed? When it's projected at 0 speed, then by definition, light cannot travel. It is completely a single point, and you can say it's engulfed by darkness because you can't see it, you can't express it. And therefore, you have the basis of a complete fragmentation. And with that fragmentation, you have a complete lack of power, you have a complete lack of harmony, and you have no way for light to know what's going on around it. So you have the opposite characteristics of what we called presence, power, knowledge, and harmony. When you consider these 2 points, light traveling infinitely fast and light projected at 0 speed, then you begin to get the boundaries of a cosmology. And the question that I want to arrive at, the answer to that question that I faced right in the beginning, why does light travel at 186,000 miles per second? I'll tell you the answer. It's so that manifestation can arise in the way it has. But let me consider this in a little more detail. When light is traveling infinitely fast, imagine you have a very fast stream of water. It will be impossible to distinguish what's inside it. It will just be a blur. And one way to think about it is when light's traveling infinitely fast, it is difficult to distinguish what it contains. There is an implicit unity. And I'll also mention that that unity of these 4 powers is the basis of something very important that we see in material manifestation that I'll get to in a couple of minutes. However, what you cannot distinguish when light's traveling infinitely fast, you can begin to distinguish when light projects itself at slower and slower speed. When it's traveling slower, then you can see what is it that this thing that we're calling presence is. What is it that power is? What is it that knowledge is? What is it that harmony is? And mathematically, we can say that those four concepts diversify into four large sets. So for those who are mathematically oriented, we can say that we can have a set of presence, a set of power, a set of knowledge, and a set of harmony. And these sets can have up to infinite elements that define variations of what presence is, of what power is, of what knowledge is, of what harmony is. And so when light is projected at a slightly slower speed, still way above c, the 186,000 miles per second, then there's a differentiation that allows you to see what is contained in those four overarching concepts. Now, when you project light at an even slower speed, still faster than c, still faster than 186,000 miles per second, then there's a further differentiation that occurs. And this differentiation is such that it is the origin of all uniqueness, because we can say that in some subtle level where this light is still much faster than 186,000 miles per second, you have now the formation of unique seeds that are unique combinations of the elements from those four large mathematical sets. And when we come down to light projected at 186,000 miles per second, then what happens to all those subtle seeds that exist in some non-material plane? They begin to materialize. But we can say that before the materialization takes place, that span of the diversity of seeds, I will suggest to you, is the origin of space. The way that each of these seeds mature is what time is. So we're talking about space-time when we've reached 186,000 miles per second, which we know is not absolute but is relative. And so we can think of each of these seeds maturing at a different pace. We can think of the transformation that the seeds go through from subtle to material form as the basis of what energy is. And we know for a fact that when we look around us at any material manifestation, that there is an implicit harmony in the way things have arisen. That means that there is a relationship between seed and seed already. And so this implicit relationship is the basis of what we can call gravity. So space, time, energy, and gravity, the macro parameters of what define this universe that has precipitated at 186,000 miles per second, derives from considering light traveling infinitely fast. Now, mathematically, we can say, we can call this symmetry. There's a concept called symmetry, where you can view the same four things from different angles or from different perceptions, and you will see something different. And so what I'm suggesting is that in this material universe, it is symmetrical in every grain, in every nano point in space, in every quantum particle, in every atom. We have this symmetry that has derived from whether we call it Satchitananda or whether we call it presence, power, knowledge, harmony, but that place that we can consider as the source layer of light. Now, Let's think about this scientifically. We know that all quantum particles exist in 4 categories. There's something called the Standard Model. And there are 4 quantum particles: quarks, leptons, bosons, and Higgs boson. Similarly, when we consider the periodic table, we know that all atoms are categorized in one of 4 categories: S shell, P shell, D shell, or F shell. When we consider any living cell on Earth, whether it's plant or animal or human, they are animated by 4 and only 4 molecular plans. And these are called polysaccharides, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. And there is a one-to-one mapping between the concept of presence, power, knowledge, and harmony, and each of these 4 categories that I just briefly mentioned. So when we talk about the science of creation, then what we're saying is that there is an implicit symmetry, and I'll mention, I know my time is almost at the end, but I want to mention something that I think is very important. If we consider the existence of any atom, we know that an atom is constituted by all 4 quantum particles, all 4 kinds of quantum particles. What does that mean? That means that that implicit unity that existed when light was traveling infinitely fast has to be maintained explicitly when light is projected at 186,000 miles per second, meaning that that implicit, we can call it love, that existed as a secret of light is now the secret of material manifestation. Because there is no atom, there is no molecule, there is no molecular plan, there is no animate or inanimate object that does not have love and light inside it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a beautiful exposition, just as it says in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Sayaschayam purushe yascha savaditye sa ekaha. The same light which is present in the universe, represented by the sun, and which is present within the Atman, the quantum realm and the cosmic realm, how they are united through light. Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful exposition on this topic. As Adi Shankaracharya ji says in the Brahmajnanavali, Jyotir Jyoti Swayam Jyotihi Atma Jyoti Shivosmyaham. That is the Jyoti which is there resounding in the cosmos. Ultimately, it is a part of the Atma Jyoti. And how to encourage, how to energize this Atma Jyoti is related to the topic of our next speaker. It is my great honor to introduce once again Dr. B.G. Pitre, sir. He is the director of the Institute of Sri Sathya Sai Education in Mumbai. He is a leading proponent of education in human values, that is EHV, inspired by the teachings of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. He has played a pivotal role in SSS EHV programs worldwide. He always gives us the thought that education is a process of character formation, nurturing not only the body, but also the mind and the spirit. His topic for today is Sri Sathya Sai Educare, integrating human values into contemporary education systems. I welcome Dr. B.G. Pitre to deliver his lecture.
my Lord and Master Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, revered elders, delegates to the conference, faculty members, brothers and sisters, and students. For the past 2 days, we have been discussing about yoga, Veda, and Indian culture. And generally the feeling is understood by everybody that Vedas are the backbone, the foundation of Indian culture, which has lasted for thousands of years. And therefore, if we want to continue, because culture essentially is social heredity, which we want to continue from our parents to us and from us to our children, the link is strengthened by the middle one, getting from the elders and transferring it to the youngers, brings out education in the picture. And whatever the conclusions have been drawn, the understanding has developed in the past 2 days. I am the last speaker, fortunately, because then it becomes my job to integrate this methodology, integrate this understanding, integrate this philosophy of the Vedas into the education system. And I have to make some comments and some views on that. Point number one, what is so different in the methodology that we are trying to work out here in the Sathya Sai schools and institutions of integrating values, where much of that is missing? Baba has always been criticizing the contemporary era of education, as you know, which is memory-based, which is exam-based and so on. So what is it that we have to do something different? So although I have a very limited time, I would like to venture upon a small activity with all of you. I have got here a story for you. This is a real story which happened in one of the Mumbai pre-primary classes. The children come, it's pre-primary, 3 to 5-year-old children coming and going back, usually in the buses. And one day the teacher asked the children of the 4-year-old class to draw a picture of the bus. A picture of the bus. Children drew that in every way. The teacher tried appreciating everything. And she came to one picture where she had to stop. She couldn't quite understand the picture in the sense, I will show you the picture here. This is the simple picture of the bus which a child of 4-year-old has drawn. Very good. The problem is for the teacher, she could not understand from the picture whether the bus goes forward this way or this way. Can you see that very clearly? And so she asked the child, which way does the bus go forward? This way, if it moves, or this way? The child answered. Before the child's answer, I want you to answer. Very quickly, I don't have much time. Look at the picture. This way would be number 1 answer. Forward this way would be number 2 answer. And I am giving you a third choice. You can't answer. Something wrong here. I will not be able to answer. Number 3. Now very quickly, number 1, those who think the bus will go forward this way, please raise your hand. Number 1, please raise your hand this way. Number 2, if you think it goes forward this way, please raise your hand. We are all watching, it is all being recorded. And number 3, I can't answer, please raise your hand. Very good. Very good. This is the difference between education and educare. I may clarify further by saying that the child was not given the option by the teacher. I don't know, I can't say. In fact, the child answered. And the child's answer was correct, which means the answer is one of the two, this way or this way. Then why were you not able to give the answer? 99% of you have said you can't answer. Only 1% said this way or this way, whichever way is correct. Okay? And that too, they may not know why. They just given the answer. We want logic. Because scientifically you must arrive at the conclusion. But you are not. That class was asked by the teacher, not only the child but the class. And 94% of the students gave the correct answer. Here 94% do not know. This is a group of people who are very well-educated, have gone through a good system of education, and are coming here, and yet they cannot answer the question. I can't give you the answer right now here, because that was Baba's methodology of educare. Baba's methodology of educare is the answer has not to be given from outside by the teacher, by the textbooks, by the guidebooks, by other people. It has to come from within. So if I give the answer to that, then the whole purpose will be lost today. But people always force me, sir, all these people assembled here, please give them the answer. I can't. But I am going to give a hint. And that would make the things very clear to you that the answer is very simple. But it is because of the education system that we all have been undergoing at this age and have gone, a product of this wrong education system, that we are not able to answer. A child of 4-year-old can answer the question, which is not the third one, so in any case. Anybody here who can say, now I know the answer? Maybe. But this is the point. What did the child say? The child was asked, which way? The child gave the answer. And the answer was not simple. Child did not say this way or this way. You know the answer? Because that will give you half the answer here. Child said, I cannot see the door. Therefore, it will go this way. I'm pausing and my precious time is going, sir. I cannot see the door of the bus. Therefore, the bus will go forward this way. I have given half the answer. I won't give the other one. Okay, so let me now say, if we want to integrate this type of education also in our system, the methodology to be adopted, the pedagogy as we call it, has to be totally different. In the modern world, you want to get more and more. That is the way to succeed in life. In the other world that we are talking about, you give and succeed in life. They are two different things. Bhagavan has said it is like a bird having two wings. Without both the wings, the bird cannot soar into the sky. But the point is, one wing goes clockwise, the other goes anti-clockwise. Both are opposite to each other. They are not opposite, they are complementary. This is exactly what Bhagavan has been trying to say in very simple words here, that you need both of them. But balance must be maintained between the two of them, education and educare. Receiving information, knowledge, everything from outside and store it in here without making use of this. The other one is already here to bring it out. And these two wings, therefore, are complementary to each other, taking the bird soaring high in the sky. Similarly, education and education. So the main point that I have made here in the time just now so far is that you need a different type of education also. In fact, more important, as Baba says, education will help you to be a living, getting your food and everything and place. But educare will give you the happiness, the joy, the harmony, the coordination, the cooperation, the love. Everything there will come from here. You have to bring it out from here. And the most difficult part of it, difficult, yes, I have given the example. In a normal course, this is what we have learned in the education system. But the educare system, unless we evoke, we cannot give the answer. The answer is there. And as I said, 94% of the people could not do it here. Therefore, it is important that we do it this way. This methodology of education, Swami's contribution, is the greatest in the contemporary era in practice that he has been able to show and tell us here. Let us understand that, and that understanding has to come with, I will just very quickly go through 5 points that separate one from the other. Separate from one the education part of it from the educare part of it. I have 5 points here. First point is to create an environment. Environment plays a tremendously important part. As you know, Baba says, in fact, nature is a great teacher. If the environment is very good, by itself, it will happen. So the creation of an environment which is permeated by the practice of the 5 human values. The environment total, physical environment as well as the natural environment. Now, this all our schools, all our institutions, Baba has been able to see that there is a certain amount of perfection, there is a certain amount of beauty, there is a certain amount of excellence in the environment that is created around. You have the proof here. Second point is very important here, and that is to provide a rationale for both the education and educare together. Very difficult. People say, oh, this is what it is, let us do that. You can't do without that also. You can't do that without this also. So you need a rationale. You need a methodology to convince us, tell us, both are needed. And that is how a person should develop there. And the methodology of developing this part is lacking in the modern education system, and therefore we are emphasizing that in the Sathya Sai education system here. Point number 3 is equally important here, and that is, how do we bring out that, the methodology? There is one very key point that Bhagavan has been doing it, asking us to do without telling us, and that is seva, community service. Pure seva, seva with love is something which enables the inner thing to come out easily. Swami Vivekananda had said, let us thank the poor and the naked, the lame and the blind. Let us thank them, let us be grateful to them. Because of their presence, that the values have come out from within me. When you go for seva, when you do such things, when you see the people there, when you see the poverty, when you talk to them, you feel that coming out from within. This is the methodology of educare. This is what is needed. So we never thought from that point of view when Baba did that and said that. But we were always told, the students were always told, go there. Give it with reverence. Give it gratitude. I am not helping you. You are helping me to become a better person. Touch the feet of the older man if it's possible. And that's how the seva should be done in every department of the thing. So seva is an important ingredient of Sathya Sai education because of the philosophy behind it. Seva. I come to the 4th point here. And the 4th point here about the teachers. Teacher is the one, the Education Commission had said there, the destiny of the nation is shaped in the classroom. But that is what it is. Ultimately, between the theory, the philosophy, and the student there, who is there? The teacher. And therefore, the teacher is competent. The teacher is committed. A teacher understands why, how, and it is to be done there, then you are sure that you will reach the goal. Otherwise, there will be difficulty. So the 4th point I mentioned here is to select competent and skilled teachers who are practitioners and exemplars of the human values. That also applies to parents. Parents are also teachers. First year, few years of life, the mother and the father are the teachers. And then the child comes to the school, goes to the tertiary level even there. So the impact of the teachers and the impact of the parents was extremely important. And this is included as an integral part of the program that we have been following. And I now come to the last point, point number 5. The point number 5 is very simple, sir. If you want the child to walk, the mother of 7-8 months old child, when the child gets up, the mother does not hold and let it sit down, encourages the child to go. And when the mother stands like this with the child coming and so on, the mother does not hold the child. Mother allows the child, and once in a while child will fall. If a student is playing, trying to learn the bicycle there, same thing happens there. The bicycle, you has to fall. The parent don't say, no, don't use it. They encourage them. All these things have to be done by the parent in a way that they are encouraged, because participation of the student in every activity is extremely essential. Swami gives the work. He doesn't load you. He's preparing for the future. And that should continue right up to the tertiary level from the primary level. There are people who have gone to the court saying that you are making use of the children to sweep the rooms. Actually, fortunately, the teachers won. I mean, there is nothing against the teacher, because this is part of, you do it at home. Baba has said, give some simple work to the children at home. And the same thing should follow in the school. We don't understand this. Don't give them, pamper them. They have to do certain things. Of course, have your love with it. If your parents are there, you will always love, and don't load them with much more than what is needed. But this is important. Experiential learning, as we call it, is the very important thing about it. These children, 4-year-old, actually have been coming and going into the bus, and they know which way the door is, which way to enter. The teacher probably came on the scooter or a car in Mumbai, so he or she would not know that. So the point is, experiential learning is the very base of integral education with education and educare. If we don't understand, then we have to come in another life to understand. It is better that now that we are here, Bhagavan is present here, we know what is there happening, Bhagavan has been guiding us and so on. This is an opportune time for us to understand that the educare methodology, combined with the education methodology which already exists, is the only way to bring about these things, and therefore to implement the message of the Vedas in the school system here. Devoid of that, that is no education at all, as Bhagavan said. Let us hope, understand and follow this methodology. And that's what we are trying to do in the 100 schools, Sathya Sai schools, in the colleges and so on. Many other hundreds and thousands of schools are doing it. But this is the methodology which alone can succeed if the teachers are there, the parents are there, the children are involved in these things, and there is a continuous guidance provided to them on these particular lines. We are sure we will reach the goal by Bhagavan's blessing. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sir. As Bhagavan has said in the Bhagavad Gita, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitra miha vidyate. There is nothing as pure, as pristine as jnana. And truly, sir, you have shared with us the jnana which has been distilled over your vast experience, and you have given it all to us, shared it with us today. Thank you very much. Bhagavan Baba's message has always been one of instilling these values. In fact, the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Sri Sathya Sai Balvikas, these are all examples how that jnana, that seed of jnana can grow into this wonderful tree which we see here today. And our next speaker, whom I would like to invite to deliver his lecture, it is my privilege to invite Shri S.S. Naganand ji, trustee in the Shri Sathya Sai Central Trust. He will be sharing with us his insights on Veda Poshana in the avataric mission of Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. I welcome Shri Naganand ji.
Om Nama Pranavarthaya Shuddha Brahmaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. My most reverential and humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, revered elders, my fellow trustees, a large number of seekers of Jnana who are attending this conference, devotees, students, and the very large number of people who regularly watch the programs that take place in Sai Kulwant Hall from all over the world. I bring you very hearty greetings on the eve of India's Republic Day and on this very auspicious day when we are having the concluding session of the 3-day Vedic conference. I was a bit intrigued when Nimish Pandya ji told me about the Vedic conference, and I was wondering what is going to be in store. But after I saw the program, I realized that it is a virtual feast. It is a feast where we recognize the ancient scripture of India, which is Veda, and I would say it is a universal scripture. It has nothing to do with Hinduism at all. It is a philosophical thought that has come from India, being the oldest civilized, organized dissemination of philosophical thought. Now we are often confused with Hinduism, Vedas, Islam, Christianity. And if you go back in time, you will realize that Christianity is about 2000 and odd years old. Islam is probably about 800 years old. But the ancient civilization of India, which we call as Bharatiya Dharma or Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana is something which has been always there, it is permanent. So this is something which is the basis of the Vedic thought. The topic given to me is the role of the Sathya Sai organization, particularly Swami's role in Veda Poshana. Now, Poshana means giving nutrition. When a child is born, it has to be given nutrition so that it will grow. So this Veda Poshana is something which is the one on which we need to talk about. Now, before you talk about Veda Poshana, how many of us know the Vedas? I'm sure many of you would have heard in the course of the last few days, we have 4 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda and Sama Veda. And very briefly you would have heard the Sama Veda is very sonorous. This is a small portion which you get in Taittiriya Upanishad. So the entire Sama Veda is a very sonorous one. And so far as other Vedas are concerned, you know bits and pieces of it. But what did Swami do for Veda Poshana is something which we need to look at. Now, the Vedas are divided into 4, that is credited to Bhagavan Vedavyasa. After that, the Vedas have different portions of it, Brahmanas and other portions, which describe certain things, which describe certain procedures to be followed, certain worship to be done in a particular manner, particular mantras to be recited, and it contains a number of mantras relating to different deities of today. We may call it Hindu deities, but if you go back in time, they are universal deities. The sun, I mean, everybody worships the sun, whether you are a Hindu or whatever you are, because it's the one which gives us light. It's the source of all life on this earth. Same thing with air, same thing with water, same thing with fire. These are natural elements which help and propagate this. But the question is, in the modern world, we don't have the ancient Gurukula system which was there for thousands of years in our country, where one could decide that instead of doing a PhD in quantum science, as we just now heard the professor speaking about the research that is being gone into, the very few people who can afford to go into a Gurukula only for the purpose of exclusive study of Vedas, so that you master it and then you practice it and you preach it. So we have all become some kind of generalists, and that means that we all have to be told what the Veda is. Now, in the Sai Kulwant Hall and in Swami's presence, we have always been hearing Vedic recitation that was taking place. I remember about 50 years ago, this system was not there. In Sai Kulwant Hall, of course, Sai Kulwant Hall was not here, Swami was here, of course, and the mandir was here, and there would be devotees and there would be congregational singing of bhajans, and Swami used to lead them, and thereafter the bhajan singers would join and sing. So that was what was limited being done. But over a period of time, Swami decided that Veda Poshana, or the encouragement of the learning of Vedas, is very, very important as something which goes hand in glove with the rest of the development of the human being. Now we are doing in another organization I'm connected with called Vedanta Bharati, a joint research with National Institute of Mental Health and Sciences in Bangalore. What is the effect of chanting the Rig Veda and chanting Yajurveda, that is particularly the Rudra Prashna, over a prolonged period of time on the brain waves that are being emanated? We have a group of people who are volunteers and they're doing it on a regular basis. Some study is going on. Hopefully in the next 6 or 7 months that study will be published, which will show what changes are happening in the brain waves when you are chanting these mantras. Now, few of us who practice them, like in our temple also we have this, on Mahashivratri we have 4-time Yama Puja, evening we do the recitation of the Shamaka Prashna, and we also do Kramarchane. Now the minute all these things are done, next day morning you get some kind of a tingling feeling in your head, a kind of peace envelops you, and you live in a different atmosphere. It's as though, you've got some kind of a high feeling, you feel when you do that. Now this is something which those of us, even here when we do the Shivaratri bhajans and the chanting that we do after the puja, you get a different kind of feeling. So in other words, this is what is happening. Now how did Swami propagate this is something which one needs to look at. Now the Vedas, Adi Shankaracharya, who propounded the philosophy of Advaita, he wrote a number of commentaries on the Prasthanatraya. I'll just pick out a few sentences from his Shankara Bhashya and look at it from the point of view of how Swami taught these principles to us. Just look at it. Swami is teaching at a very practical level. Harp ever, hurt never. These kind of small aphorisms are there. If I take from Kathopanishad some of the Shankara Bhashya and I read to you, you'll realize Atma Darshanaya Ihaiva Yatnaha. That means to progress spiritually, you have to do it here and now. Ihaiva means only here. Now, so what was Swami telling us? He was telling us, this is the time for you to realize yourself. And how do you realize yourself? You realize yourself only when you look at other human beings around you and feel that they are all part of the same divine. The minute you realize that they are all yours, they are one and the same, there's no distinction, then all the other problems which we create in our mind will just get vanished. So, one way of Poshana is to tell people in a simple, understandable, easy way as to what is in the Vedas. Now, if somebody starts giving you a lecture on the entire Rig Veda starting from Agnimile Purohitam, it starts like that. If you start doing that, none of us will be interested in it. We will not have the patience to understand it, nor will you have the wherewithal to comprehend it. So what did Swami do for Veda Poshana is, he picked out these gems from every Veda, instilled them into small aphorisms, and then started giving them to you. Now, one more you can see. Sahi Parameshwaraha Sarvataha Eko Samo Anyadhiko Va Anyosti. He is the same in everyone. Na anyosti means he is not different. He is no one else. Now, one way in which Swami propagated these Vedic ideals is to tell all of us that this is the ultimate truth. And for you to realize the ultimate truth, you have to pay attention to what Bhagavan is saying and start feeling it in your life. Then Kenopanishad says, who can get all this? How can you get all these things? Now, it says, Jnanat hi amrutatvam prapyate. This is a commentary of Adi Shankaracharya. That means you can only get immortality or mukti as we understand it by jnana. Now, how do you get jnana? Jnana is got only by understanding, by reading, by listening to revered speakers like Sri Pitre and others who have done a whole life of work on this and who are telling us what is to be done, how it is to be done, how did they understand what Bhagavan taught us, and the simple steps that we have to do. Now, in addition to this, one more aspect of Veda Poshana is that we should all learn it. Now, for those of us who come from somewhat traditional families, after our Upanayanam is done, every other day we have a Vedic Pandit who will come to our house, or you go to the class and you learn some of the Vedas, the Suktas, depending on which Shakha you belong to. That practice is there, but slowly disseminating in the modern world. So what did Swami do? Swami started the chanting of Vedas now. Every day, led by Sri Vednarayan and others, these great scholars who are all here, we have all started learning Rudra, Chamaka, Sri Sukta, Purush Sukta, Narayana Sukta, Medha Sukta. All the important mantras which form part of Vedas, they have now been revived. And recently, we all know that during the Atirudra Mahayajna, there was a very interesting program that was done when the chanting was kept open online to anybody from anywhere in the world. What a wonderful event that was. So we had lakhs of people from every part of the world joining in chanting online, which has now been checked and certified as the largest ever chanting of Veda that has happened in the world. There are 3 lakh, I'm told by Nimish Bhai that there are 3 lakh Balvika students in this country and maybe another 30,000-40,000 people abroad, and if you take the overseas organizations. Now all the Balvika's children are learning small shlokas and stotras. Now I was asking him, what about the Veda Poshana? How does that take place? So now they are going to discuss and probably come to some conclusion as to how we are going to fuse both of them. Because there are 40,000 Balvika's gurus, and some of them are also trained in Vedas. So they are the ones who are teaching Vedas. I remember many years ago for the 25th anniversary of the Japan Sathya Sai organization, a few of us from here went to Japan under the invitation of Brother Hira, who's one of our trustees. And we went to a remote place where they organized a 2-day retreat, and it was beautifully done. And what impressed me most was that evening we had a bonfire, and it was a pleasant evening on the banks of a big lake. So there were a lot of young children there, so I thought they're going to show some dance or perform something. We all made to sit, and then Brother Hira started the evening with a bhajan that he sang. After that he said, Vedas will be presented by the children, and they chanted the Durga Sukta. What a beautiful chant it was. In fact, I recorded the chant, I still have it with me. Young children, they must be all in the age of not more than 8 to 9 years of age. They chanted it with such perfection, and the whole of that. And the thing is, now how did this happen? What was Swami's role in this? Now, is it conceivable that you could go to a country like Japan where they don't know Sanskrit, they don't know English, they don't know our culture, but they have imbibed this spirit into them. So this, I think, is the greatest achievement, if I can call it, so far as this Sai organization and Swami's Marga Darshan is concerned. Now we need to bear one more thing in mind. Now, we are learning all these Vedas, we are chanting them, and we are sharing this with other people in the traditional systems of learning. And due to various social and other factors in the religious institutions, there is a feeling that one should not chant the Vedas unless you belong to a particular caste. Now Swami addressed this head along straight away, and he said, all are one. Even the Advaita Vedanta Siddhanta says there is no difference between a high caste and a low caste. In fact, during the chant of Adi Shankaracharya also in his Shankara Vijaya, this story comes. So if you look at that, Swami departed from this, and as part of the Veda Poshana, one thing that he did was that he made it universal. So I think this is really the crux of the essence which Swami has given to us, and we must be extremely grateful to Bhagavan, and we must take his path and go along and see how well we can take this forward so that this ancient heritage of ours is available to the whole world. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you very much, sir, for your wise words. In Lagunyasam we say, Brahmanda Vyapta Deha. What we mean, one who has encompassed the entire cosmos. We don't realize to what extent Swami has encompassed till we listen to such incidents where in faraway countries all our brothers are chanting the universal prayers which are the Vedas. Moving further, it is my pleasant duty to invite our All India President, Shri Sathya Sai Seva Organizations India and Vice Chairman of the Sathya Sai Global Council, Shri Nimish Pandya ji, to give us his views, his guidance, his directions on the path forward. Shri Nimish Pandya ji. Sai.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering our humble salutations, the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan, and not missing an opportunity to offer a prayer on behalf of all of us, that he guides us, blesses us, and continues to shower his grace upon us every moment, every breath of our lives. Dear brothers and sisters, taking a cue from Dr. Pitre, the bus of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organizations definitely knows which direction it is going. It is going to the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan at all times, whichever direction, whichever system you see from. And this answer, Dr. Pitre, comes from the bottom of the heart of all the members of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization, because our educare is always from inside, because we're all convinced that Swami is inside us and not outside. So with that belief that our bus is going towards the divine lotus feet at all times, let me set the way forward, because that's the topic given to me by Brother Gautri, the way forward. And the way forward is to the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan, which are all ensconced in the hearts of each one of us. The last 3 days, we have really tried to understand so many different facets of this unique diamond called the Vedas. Different dimensions, different glory, different radiations coming from all the sides. But the end of it, again I remember that Dr. Pitre used to give an example many years ago. There used to be a sweet called Melody, a small little sweet available in the market called Melody. And somebody asked, what is the nature of this sweet? How is this sweet Melody? And nobody could answer. And we had the answer in Hindi, Melody khao, khud jaan jao. Eat the melody, you know yourself. But the end of the 3 days, what the essence, the lowest common denominator is, whatever we heard about the Vedas, whatever we heard about the different facets, but the crux is, if we don't practice, we will not know anything at all about the Vedas at any point of time. The crux is, the various speakers have dawned and explained to us. And our source is the master. when the giver of the Vedas is with us, the best way to learn the Vedas is to follow what he says. And he says, don't really think too much. Sit in the Sai-Kulwant hall every morning. Chant the Vedas the way I have taught you. And the more you chant, the more you will learn. The more you will learn, the more you will feel. And the more you feel, the more you will realize what I am. And therefore the Satsai Seva organization has a very simple plan. We were always very convinced that the various facets of the Vedas could be grand. But the best facet is just to chant the Rudram. That's what started in the Sai-Kulwant hall, and that's what we wish to continue. So as a platform of the Sri Satsai Seva organization, brothers and sisters, we will follow the Gurukula system. Like Brother Ved Narayan sits in front of 30 children in the school, in the colleges. He recites, they recite, and all of them understand everything automatically. Like that, in the Satsai organization, we do propose and pray to Bhagavan that all my brothers and sisters here who have learned chanting or are learning chanting or are getting familiar with the chanting, all of you have one extra duty to perform. Don't be happy by chanting yourself, because that is selfish Veda. The correct way to enjoy all the chanting that we've done in the organization is that each one of us will ensure that we go back to our samitis and ensure that we give opportunity for various people in the samitis who want to learn chanting. You become the teachers for all the people wherever you go in the samitis. And that is service. And that is seva. Because more and more people at the samiti level, if they learn how to chant and they start chanting, you can imagine it will be a chanting which is 100 times bigger than the chanting that Brother Naganand mentioned throughout the length and breadth of the country on a day-to-day basis. And therefore, that is the dream that the Sai organization must have, and that is the commitment that all of you delegates who are here because of your interest, your yearning, your prowess of chanting, is a duty that we must cast upon. And why I say this is because we learned this from the master. When the master started Bal Vikas, he was not interested in pedagogy. He was interested in the Guru Shishya Parampara. The energy of love that our Bal Vikas Gurus pour into their children over the last 8 decades have created more than 30 crores of young men and women in the whole world who are now trained to be Bal Vikas students. And ask each one of them, they may not remember the text, they may not remember, but they will remember the stories and the smiling face of their Bal Vikas Gurus, even at the age of 60 or 70. And you saw one example here in Dr. Pravir Malik, remembering his age-old guru in Dr. Pitre after 30, 40 years of life being crossing further. This is the proof. Today, even when we remember the physical, beautiful form of Bhagavan, what inspires us is that memory. Those beautiful moments that we spent. You may not remember his discourse. You may not remember the words that he said. But when you close your eyes and look at him, all knowledge is ours, all experience is ours. In fact, I remember his telling one of the students who was leaving the portals of the university. And when that student asked him, Swami, I am going out, but how will I remember you? How will I feel close to you? He says, close your eyes and recreate all the memories that you spent with me when you were with me, and that's good enough for you to lead your life. And remember, at that moment, I'll always be with you. And therefore, Vedam, brothers and sisters, in conclusion, is nothing but the spirit of the divine within us and realizing that. Vedam is nothing but realizing that the spirit of the master pervades every atom. Vedam is nothing else but forces us to believe that we are all one. Vedam is nothing else but to forces us to experience the unity that we are all are one. And that should manifest in our service, in our prayers. And this can happen only when we transform ourselves and believe that everybody else is a reflection of the same divine master. How can there be a difference? When you chant the Rudram, when you finish chanting the Rudram, you cannot hate anybody. When you finish chanting the Rudram, you cannot be disassociate with anybody. When you finish chanting the Rudram, you cannot be rude to anybody. And especially when you finish chanting the Rudram, you cannot be unhappy yourself. Because if you chant the Rudram correctly, and if that is accepted by the Divine Master, what you should feel is only joy, joy, happiness, and happiness at all points of time. Brothers and sisters, with this remembrance of this summary of what really the Vedas is, as we understand from Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, let us offer our prayers at His divine lotus feet. And as we go further, the way forward will be that we will pray to Bhagwan to bless the Sathya Sai Seva organization to ensure that every samiti, every center in the world has at least one or two of you beautiful people who have learned chanting, who will spend your time in teaching more and more people around. As far as the Bal Vikas is concerned, yes, our gurus are all getting trained, and they in turn are teaching the children who are willing to learn. The shlokas and the mantras are anyway an integral part of it. And Brother Vednarayan has given us a whole syllabus that we have already implemented in Bal Vikas. But beyond that, we will ensure that the opportunity is available to everybody to chant. Because our vision is very simple. Chant and be happy. Chant and experience. Chant and feel God within. Chant and feel God outside. That's the only vision that the Sai organization has for all mankind. Baba's way, Baba's Vedic philosophy is a very simple, straight line philosophy from the divine lotus feet to his heart, and from his heart to ensure that we believe that his heart and our heart is the same. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very inspiring words. Truly, as you said in the Sri Rudram, when we begin the 11th Anuvak, Sahasrani sahasrasho ye Rudra adhibhumyam teshagum sahasrayo jane vadhanvani tanmasi. For thousands and thousands of miles around, there is only Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. Only Sri Rudra is there. And that is the experience for which we should always constantly strive, as you have correctly pointed out to us. We have had a very eye-opening 3 days, as all the speakers have mentioned. None of us were probably aware, or very few of us were probably aware, that so many very, very diverse facets of the Vedic religion, the Vedic culture are there. And we were introduced to a very vast range of these. Coming to the conclusion of this conference, on behalf of all the participants, all the speakers, all the delegates, I would like to read the Prasanthi Declaration, a Ghoshana of this Vedic conference. What is our sankalpa going forward? We, the participants of the second Global Vedic Conference at Prasanthi Nilayam, affirm that the insights, deliberations, and shared understanding emerging from this conference constitute a foundation for continued collective engagement founded upon practice, guided by the principle of Ishavasyam Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, inspired by the teachings of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. We commit ourselves to applying these shared conclusions within our respective fields, fostering ethical action, inner transformation, and responsible care for the planet. We recognize this declaration as not a conclusion, but a beginning. It is a call to all mankind, present and future, to realize, understand, and appreciate and promote the existence of the divine, which permeates the entire cosmos, and therefore to live in harmony, peacefully, in happiness as one family. It is a call to the need for sustained dialogue, reflection, and collaborative action beyond this conference. Towards this end, we affirm our intent to remain engaged as a continuing cohort of practitioners of Vedic principles, contributing to an evolving body of thought and action inspired by the vision of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. To mark this declaration, we will be undertaking the chanting of the No Bhadrah Suktam. No Bhadrah Kratavo Yantu Vishwataha. May noble thoughts come to us unhindered from all quarters.
विश्वतो दब्धासो अपारीतास उद्भिदाः देवानो यथा सदमिद्वृधे असन्नप्रायुवो रक्षितारो दिवे दिवे देवानां भद्रासु मतिर्जुयतान् देवानां रातिरभिनो निवर्तताम् देवानां सख्यमुपासेदि मा वयं देवान आयुः प्रतिरन्तु जीवसे तान् पूर्वाया निविदा भूमहे वयं भगम् मित्रमदितिं दक्षमसृजम् हर्यमणौ वरुणं सोममश्विना सरस्वती नः सुभगामयस्करत् तन्नो वातो मयो भुवातु भेषजं तन्माता पृथिवी तत्पिता द्यौः तद्ग्रावाणः सोमसुतो मयो भुवस्तदश्विना शृणुतं धिष्ण्यायुवम् तमीशानं जगतस्तस्थुषस्पतिं धियं जिन्वमवासे हूमहे वयम् पूषा नो यथा वेद सामसद्वृधे रक्षिता पायुरदब्धः स्वस्तये स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवा स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु पृषादश्वा मरुतः वृष्णीमातरः शुभैयावानो विदतेषु जग्मायः अग्निजिह्वा मनवः सूराचक्षसो विश्वे नो देवा अवसागमन्निह भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवा भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिर्व्याशेम देवहितं यदायुः शतमिन्नु शरदो अन्ति देवायत्रा नश्चक्राजरसन् तनूनां पुत्रासो यत्र पितरो भवन्ति मानो मध्यारीर्षदायुर्गन्तोः अदितिर्द्यौरदितिरन्तरिक्षमदितिर्माता स पिता स पुत्रः विश्वे देवा अदितिः पञ्च जना अदितिर्जातमदितिर्जनित्वम् ऋरुनीति नो वरुणो मित्रो नायतु विद्वान् हर्यमा देवैः सजोषाः ते हि वस्वो वसवा नास्ते अप्रामुरामहोभिः व्रता रक्षन्ते विश्वाः ते अस्मभ्यं शर्मायं सन्नमृतामर्तेभ्यः बाधमाना अपद्विषाः विनः पतः सुविताय चियन्त्विन्द्रो मरुताः पूषा भगो वन्द्यासः उत नोऽधियोगो अग्राः पूषन् विष्णवे वायावः कर्ता न स्वस्ति मताः मधुवातारुतायते मधुक्षरन्ति सिन्धवः माध्वेन सन्तोषाधेः मधुनक्तमुतोषसो मधुमत्पार्थिवं रजाः मधुद्यौरस्तु नः पिता मधुमान्नो वनस्पतिर्मधुमाम् अस्तु सूर्याः माध्वीर्गावो भवन्तु नः शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णोरुरुक्रमः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
जय जय गिरिजा बाल गजानन 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 शिव शंकर पार्वती नंदन शिव शंकर पार्वती नंदन शिव शंकर पार्वती नंदन शिव शंकर पार्वती नंदन जय जय गिरिजा बाल गजानन जय जय गिरिजा बाल गजानन विघ्न विनाशक विमल गजानन विघ्न विनाशक विमल गजानन विमल गजानन शरवण सेवित सुख गजानन शरवण सेवित सुख गजानन Aruna Ramana Shri Gurudeva Aruna Ramana Shri Gurudeva Sharamana Sagurudeva Sharamana Sagurudeva Sharamana Sagurudeva Sharamana Sagurudeva Aruna Ramana Shri Gurudeva Bhava Bhaya Harana Shri Sai Deva Bhava Bhaya Harana Shri Sai Deva Guru hai Satchit Anand 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 Deva Anand Deva Shri Sai 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 Deva Aruna Ramana Shri Gurudeva Ramana Shri Gurudeva Sharamana Sagurudeva Sharamana Sagurudeva Aruna Ramana Shri Gurudeva Ramana Shri Gurudeva Bhava Bhaya Harana Shri Sai Deva Bhava Bhaya Harana Shri Sai Deva Guru hai Satchit Anand Deva Guru hai Satchit Anand Deva Anand Deva Shri Sai Deva Shri Sai Deva Anand Deva Shri Sai Deva Shri Sai Deva Aruna Ramana Shri Gurudeva Madhusudana Hare Madhava Madhusudana Hare Madhava Madhusudana Hare Madhava Madhusudana Hare Madhava Shri Vasudeva Sanatana Shri Vasudeva Sanatana Shri Vasudeva Janardana Shri Vasudeva Janardana Hare Keshava श्रीवासुदेवा जनार्दना मधुसूदना हरे माधवा जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बांधवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता गुरुदैवं पर्यन्तयुनीरे स्वामी
साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ 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 साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। प्रचोदयात् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात् ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः